I was wrong. When Reindeer Games was first announced, it would be an understatement to say that I was skeptical. A non-live Christmas special that was focused entirely on the competitions? I literally laughed. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna watch the thing. But boy, oh boy, was I wrong. In just 6 episodes, Reindeer Games delivered some of the most fun reality TV that I had seen in a very long time. Believe it or not, throughout all of the years I've been doing YouTube, I've never actually done an official review of a show before. But Reindeer Games was so good that I had to make one so I could talk about it. I have a lot of things to say, so let's not waste any time. Consider subscribing if you're new here. We're getting really close to 40,000 subscribers. And without further ado, here is my Big Brother Reindeer Games review.
I mean, I gotta put these two to good use, right? I have to at this point.
For those that don't know, Reindeer Games was a Big Brother spin-off focused on the competitions that featured 9 former players across 6 episodes. Each episode would consist of 3 different competitions: the Naughty and Nice Challenge, the Jingle Bell Brawl, and Santa's Showdown. And all 3 competitions were for varying rewards. The Naughty and Nice Challenge gave the winner an advantage, the Jingle Bell Brawl gave the winner safety and power, and Santa's Showdown gave the winner life in the game, as the loser would be eliminated from the show.
Daddy's coming home.
The first competition of each day was the Naughty and Nice Challenge, which not only gave the winner an advantage in the second comp, the Jingle Bell Brawl, but it also gave them the power to dole out a disadvantage to any player of their choosing. What could have easily been the most boring competition of every episode actually became a point of real intrigue, and that is thanks to the fact that no advantage or disadvantage was the same. Brittany won the first Naughty and Nice Challenge and chose to give Cody a disadvantage, but the advantage and disadvantage in the Jingle Bell Brawl turned out to be so measly and pathetic that it was practically a non-factor, which basically meant that Brittany made an enemy out of Cody and got practically nothing out of it. In turn, this caused a decent amount of players to straight up throw the Naughty and Nice Challenge on day 2, deeming the risk to be too high without enough of a reward to make up for it, which allowed for Cody to easily waltz his way in and win the power for himself. This time, however, instead of getting scraps, Cody earned a huge advantage in the Jingle Bell Brawl, where he not only got to break everyone into 2 teams of 4 to his liking, but he also got to give someone else on the other team a disadvantage, which theoretically gave him and his team a gigantic edge in the competition. The variance of effectiveness in the advantage you'd get on each day is actually something I really liked, as it incorporated a sense of risk and strategy, and it really made you think if winning the Naughty and Nice Challenge was actually beneficial for your game, and I appreciated that. The competition became a major wildcard, as we never knew going into it whether it would impact the game tremendously or just be a fun little precursor to the more important competitions. This, of course, leads into the second comp of each day, the Jingle Bell Brawl. This competition was the closest thing to an HOH as we would get, as the winner of the comp would not only be safe, but they'd have a direct hand in choosing who would be eligible for elimination. Sometimes it would be super straightforward, like on day 1, when Frankie won the Jingle Bell Brawl and got to choose 2 players to compete for their lives in Santa's Showdown. But it wasn't always so cut and dry. As I briefly mentioned earlier, the Day 2 Jingle Bell Brawl was between 2 teams of 4, but the winning team didn't get to choose 2 of the 4 losers to go into Santa's Showdown. Instead, they got to save 1 of the 4 players, which forced the remaining 3 into the final competition. Again, the variance in the power that the JBB winners had was so intriguing because it left the players uninformed each and every round. You couldn't just assume that you'd automatically be safe if an ally of yours won the Jingle Bell Brawl, because sometimes the format wouldn't allow for it to happen. Like when Taylor and Danielle had to choose between keeping Nicole safe or Xavier safe on day 2. They were unable to keep both safe, whereas they could have had they won the Jingle Bell Brawl the prior day. The fact that the format changed every day kept not only the players, but also us viewers on our toes, and it's one of the things that kept me so glued to my TV throughout the entire airing of the show. I finally felt like I had to expect the unexpected the way that Big Brother has always wanted me to. And then, of course, there's the final competition of each day, Santa's Showdown. This was just a competition where the loser would be eliminated from the show, but just like the other 2 competitions, there was so much variety in how this comp played out. The first night, it was a 1v1 puzzle. The second night, it was a 3-person logic riddle. The third night, it was a solo gauntlet that will get its own section later because of how incredible it was. Each showdown was unique, exciting, and best of all, equitable. But again, I'll talk about that more later. Overall, the 3 competition format was done so in a way where each one felt important and impactful to the episode, and not knowing the specific mandate in each competition was a boon because it kept both the players and the viewers on their toes. You never knew if it was going to be a duel, or a team comp, or a solo elimination. It was a pressure cooker of a format which kept the speed at 100 miles per hour the whole way through the season, and when you compare that to the drawn-out nature of the main show, Reindeer Games offered us a fast-paced ride that was captivating the whole way through.
I enter the bathroom and I see the sheet music for the 12 Days of Christmas. I saw 3 ships, which I've never heard of. I'm like, what is that?
Now that we've talked about the competition format, let's talk about the competitions themselves. I don't know who was the director of comp design for this season, but please, whoever you are, come back every season. These are some of the best competitions we have ever seen on the show. Riddles, puzzles, hamster wheel contraptions, everything was so fun to watch, themed perfectly for the season, and equitable. These are some of the most equitable comps that Big Brother has ever had, and not even in the crapshoot kind of way. You still had to earn the win, but players weren't put at an automatic disadvantage just because they weren't a skinny athletic male, and we saw that through the results. Even with there being 1 extra man on the season, we saw women win the majority of the competitions. The women totaled up 14 combined wins, while the men had 13. That is literally almost as equitable as you can get. Obviously, there were some challenges that were more physical and would possibly favor athletic men, but that's okay, because it was only sometimes and there were a variety of other competitions that made up for it. I'm okay with physical comps when they don't make up 95% of the season, and Reindeer Games did an excellent job of incorporating the physical component of challenges without making it the end-all be-all deciding factor of everything.
Nobody's gonna be going to...
I heard Cody crash, and I'm not upset about it because that's so mean.
Because of this, we got to watch a lot of on-paper upsets occur all throughout the season, with my favorite one coming in episode 2. As I mentioned before, Cody won the Naughty and Nice power on day 2, and he was able to decide the teams for the Jingle Bell Brawl. Cody tried stacking his team with the most physical players possible, choosing Frankie, Xavier, and Nicole for his team, leaving the leftovers of Brittany, Danielle, Taylor, and Josh to make up the second team, and giving Taylor an additional disadvantage in the process. On paper, it looked like a surefire win for Cody's team. But that's not what happened. The competition ended up being all about balancing ornaments on a tree, and the leftover team cruised through it all, winning the challenge and pulling off the upset even with Taylor's disadvantage. It was a competition for the ages, and surely one of the best results of the season.
And there you have it. These snowballs just played themselves.
Listen, you can't keep a baddie down. You give me a disadvantage, you put me on a team of people that you think are gonna fail, and I still beat you. Eat my snow, Cody.
This also showed that you needed to be smart with how you used your Naughty and Nice advantage, because if you didn't think through everything fully, it could bite you in the butt. Cody stacked his team with compies, putting all of his eggs in one basket and hoping that they would win the Jingle Bell Brawl, but they lost. And once they did, the tables turned on Cody because he then had to compete against those very same compies in Santa's Showdown. He had to go down there and compete against Frankie and Xavier, and Cody ended up being eliminated at the end of the episode. In a normal season of Big Brother, you probably wouldn't be able to see an upset like that happen, and that's exactly what makes Reindeer Games so special. That's just the tip of the iceberg, too. Taylor and Frankie had a season-long rivalry, but they could never quite get the other person out, and it wasn't until the semifinals that they had to face off one-on-one for their chance to make it to the final 2. Frankie had won a competition literally every single episode up to that point, so it seemed like he was the favorite against Taylor, but Taylor clutched up and took out the compies to the season in the penultimate showdown. And lastly, of course, you have Nicole, who had not 1, not 2, but 3 major upsets on her way to winning the entire show. The first one was when she beat Josh in a photo finish in the Candy Cane Endurance Showdown. Then the second one was when she beat Xavier, who not only had single-handedly taken out like a third of the cast beforehand, but he also had an advantage in the competition. This win gave Nicole a spot in the final showdown against Taylor, where she once again was not seen as the favorite, and Taylor started off hot, but Nicole came from behind and won, making it her third upset of the season and crowning her the winner of the entire show.
Oh my God! Congratulations, Nicole.
Wow!
Holy crap!
Holy crap is right, Nicole!
Congratulations, Nicole!
Throughout the series, it was proven time and time again that anybody could win at any given time, and in turn, anyone could be eliminated at any given time, resulting in a final two that I'm sure nobody expected, and crowning Nicole the ultimate winner, who was possibly the most unlikely player to win on paper going into this whole thing. Now, I know I've been talking about the competitions a lot, but there is one competition in particular that I think deserves its own section, and that's the Hamster Wheel of Death Showdown in Episode 3. Instead of Santa's Showdown being a head-to-head competition, it would instead be a solo challenge. Nicole, the winner of the Day 3 Jingle Bell Brawl, had to choose one player to send into Santa's Showdown, and that player would have 5 minutes and 30 seconds to complete the hamster wheel maze and get the ornament piece out. If that player was successful, then that person would call out another player and send them into the same showdown, except that player would have 1 less minute to complete the task. This would continue on, with each successful attempt giving the next player less time to complete it, and holy f***ing shit, was that some of the most riveting, intense Big Brother that I have ever seen. Like seriously, whoever came up with this comp deserves the world. Nicole sent in her closest ally Frankie to compete first, since she knew that someone would send him in the future anyways, and this would at least give him the most amount of time to complete it. Frankie breezed through the competition, taking just slightly over 2 minutes to complete it. Frankie then sent in Xavier, but Xavier struggled mightily, using up almost the entirety of his 4.5 minutes and only having 14 seconds left on the clock afterwards. Xavier went back inside and was convinced that whoever he was sending in was going to be eliminated, and eventually he landed on Brittany. Brittany had absolutely no faith in herself whatsoever, and everyone was crying because they all figured that Brittany was a goner since she only had 3.5 minutes to complete the challenge. To everyone in the game, it really seemed like Brittany was on her way home. But then out of nowhere, she beasted the competition and finished with the fastest time of the night.
Oh my God! Oh my God, you guys! I don't believe I did that! I hate all of them! They sent me to my death! Shut up!
On one hand, everyone was super happy and proud of Brittany for defying the odds in beating the challenge. But on the other hand, Taylor, Josh, and Danielle were shaking in their boots because that meant that one of them was about to be sent in, and at this point, it was looking extremely dire. It looked like the players could barely breathe at this point, and Brittany only had a few minutes to decide. It seemed like she was going to pick Taylor, but then Xavier made possibly the biggest mistake of the season and told Brittany that he only sent her in order to protect Danielle. This was all Brittany needed to hear. Since Xavier sent Brittany in, it only seemed right that Brittany repay the favor and target Xavier. But since Xavier was safe, she had to target the next best thing, which was his closest ally, and Xavier had made it pretty apparent who that was. In a weird twist of fate, this was strikingly similar to the move that took Brittany out the last time she played in Big Brother 14, but instead of Brittany being the collateral damage, it was Danielle.
Why did you put me in?
If you were going to go out there and you were going to lose, I'm trying to keep Danielle safe.
You just told me who you are protecting. You just tied my hands.
Brittany sent Danielle in, and although she gave it her best shot and came very close to completing it, she couldn't do it with the restricted time limit, and she was eliminated from the show. This competition had everything you could possibly ask for. High stakes, a social and strategic element, heaps of tension, and loads of drama. It is quite possibly my single favorite competition to ever come out of the Big Brother universe, and the only downside is that it resulted in Danielle's demise.
Well, this naughty girl is done. I guess it's time for me to get home for Christmas.
Okay, I've certainly talked enough about the competitions now, so I think it's time we move on and talk about the thing that actually made the season so successful, and that was the cast. You wanted all-stars? This is an all-star cast. 5 former winners, 3 former AFPs, the best player to never win, and quite possibly the most dangerous triple threat competitor in Big Brother history. There were no duds on this cast. Well, okay, I could have done without Cameron, yes. And okay, I could have done without Cody, yes. But they had solid reasons to be on the cast, and I think they filled a necessary role. And even still, they were the first 2 people eliminated. Can you believe that? Cody and Cameron, the players I had ranked number 1 and number 3 coming into the season, were somehow the first 2 players eliminated from the games. And it was totally fair. They didn't get twist screwed. They didn't lose on a technicality. They just straight up lost, and I didn't see it coming.
Woo! And then I see Cody's face, and it just breaks my heart. Woo! I'm so sorry.
Another reason that this spin-off succeeded so well was because it felt like we were getting the most authentic versions of these returning players. The diary room has never felt more alive, and a huge part of that was thanks to Brittany. She was always touted as the greatest confessionalist even before this, yet somehow she still came and delivered hilarious diary rooms that surpassed even my own expectations.
Hold on, advantage? So it's just gonna be like a little bit easier for me? That doesn't sound like what I thought this power was going to be. The Jingle Bell Brawl is actually going to give safety to the winner. What a concept!
And it wasn't just Brittany. Everyone was showing up with their confessionals. Even Cody, who is widely regarded as one of the most boring players in the history of the show.
You know, I've acted in a few Christmas movies, so if you guys want to check those out, I don't know where you can find them, to be honest.
Everyone was bringing something to the table, and I'm going to quickly go through each player and talk about them. Up first is Cameron, the rookie of the season, and it was clear right from the get-go that the entire house was targeting him due to being the new kid on the block. But Cameron took it on the chin, not being a poor sport about it, and he remained positive all the way through his elimination, which I really appreciated from the first boot.
I hope that the present that I open in my parting will be $5,000 and not fruitcake or something crazy. Your subscription to the Jelly Club.
Cody was the next boot, which really surprised me, as I did choose him to be my winner's pick. For being out so early, Cody was fairly involved with the flow of the game, as his rivalry with Taylor was a very fun storyline to watch, and the upset of his dream team was an all-time Big Brother moment. Although it seems pretty clear that Cody doesn't have that fire within him anymore, I do think he brought something to the season, as seeing him play from the bottom was something we hadn't really seen before, and his confessional imitating Nicole's voice was one of the funniest things he has ever done on this show.
Cody, I see you.
I see what you're doing, Cody.
Danielle Reyes is next, and wow, it was such a treat to see her back. Watching her go back to her old ways and sneakily play the middle was so great to watch, and although she was taken from us too soon, her exit in the hamster wheel spin of death was a perfectly tense and dramatic way for her to go, and I really hope we somehow get to see her again on some other show.
That money,
Come on.
I get the money. No one gets the money. It was like, to you, Merry Christmas, naughty girl just got paid.
After Danielle is Josh, who delivered on all accounts. He was animated, brought a lot both in terms of entertainment and gameplay, and I really appreciated him calling everyone snowballs instead of meatballs. I always love how much passion Josh brings when he competes, and I was very happy to see just how many people in the community turned around on Josh in a positive way this season. It finally made me feel like I wasn't crazy for hyping him up all these years.
Santa, you played me. We were supposed to be friends. I don't know if I can win with my team like this right now. Santa, please.
Up next is Brittany, who, as usual, owned the diary room. She somehow managed to improve upon her already S-tier confessionals. She had other hilarious moments, like not realizing Xavier won his season, and I truthfully cannot imagine this season without Brittany's humor there. On top of that, she was also an underrated competitor. She was the first player to win all 3 competitions, and her performance on the hamster wheel was not only very impressive, but one of the best moments of the season. Please give us more Brittany.
Everyone is a winner.
Xavier didn't win.
He didn't?
Wait, did he win?
Yes, he won the cookout.
He won.
Yes.
And now, that leaves us with the 4 finalists. Firstly, we have the 4th place finisher, Xavier. Kinda similar to Cody, it was really interesting seeing Xavier play from a position on the bottom, as he was constantly being thrown into Santa's Showdown and needing to win his way to safety, which was the complete opposite of his run on Big Brother 23. While his strategy on the season did leave something to be desired, I think Xavier really cemented himself as one of the greatest competitors in all of Big Brother, as he went into Santa's Showdown 4 times and survived every single one of them. He was an obstacle that the other players simply could not get rid of, and for that, I appreciated his time on the season.
I'm looking at Nicole gagging and dry heaving. I could have been suffering right there with you, but you benched me, so now I just get to watch you struggle.
After Xavier, we have Frankie, the bronze medalist, and I think it's fair to say that Frankie was probably the main character of the season, at least for the guys. Even though he was always a target, he was always winning the competitions to keep himself safe, as he literally won a comp every single episode up through the finale. The rivalry between himself and Taylor was the storyline of the season, and it culminated in a very satisfying showdown. Frankie may have solidified himself as the greatest competitor in Big Brother history, and although it is up for debate, I do think he's at the very least earned being in the discussion. Many may find Frankie's larger-than-life personality to be annoying, but I found him to be a fun presence on the season, and I enjoyed his role as the quote-unquote final boss of Reindeer Games.
I'm so proud of myself. I love Christmas, and this is my best Christmas, and I've had really good Christmases. Thanks, Mom.
And now we're down to our last 2 players. Up first, we have the runner-up of the season, Taylor Hale. I was already a gigantic fan of Taylor going into this, and now I'm an even bigger fan. Watching Taylor start the game off not instantly on the bottom was such a blessing to see, because it allowed for her to showcase her strategic plans when she was not backed into a corner. She knew what she wanted to do and tried making it happen at all costs, which kickstarted the rivalries of her versus Cody, and once she got Cody out, it turned into her versus Frankie, and watching these lighthearted rivalries arise from places other than malice was a wonderful change of pace from what we saw on Big Brother 24. Taylor also was probably the best insulated player throughout the entirety of the season, proving that her positioning and social skills are both top tier, and she was also the only player to never once go into a Santa Showdown, which is insanely impressive. She had the most Jingle Bell Brawl wins of any player. She took out Frankie in the finale, and she proved that her win on Big Brother 24 was not a fluke. She was my favorite player on the season, and I feel that this experience did wonders for her legacy.
I feel amazing that I'm here in the Reindeer Games. I was never sent to Santa Showdown, which is all due to my excellent social game. So I'm ready to finish up this game and get that money. Like I always do.
And now, lastly, we have the winner of the season, Nicole Franzel. I need to go put my clown wig back on because I did not see this coming in the slightest. Nicole turned back the clock and definitively cemented herself as one of the greatest Big Brother players ever. The fact that I made an entire video on Nicole Franzel a year ago titled The Underestimated, and I still underestimated her coming into this, makes me feel like a big idiot, and deservingly so. Nicole came in and did what she does best, lowered her threat level, and used that to make a deep run in the game. However, this time she did something that I didn't know she had in her. She showed up in clutch time. She won the clutch JBB in episode 3 to avoid the hamster wheel. She took Josh out in episode 4. She defeated the comp beast Xavier with a disadvantage in the semifinals. And then she took out Taylor in a come from behind victory to crown herself the winner of Reindeer Games. It was one of the most unexpected results I could have ever imagined, and I'm shocked at just how satisfied I was to see her win. I have completely changed my tune on Nicole thanks to Reindeer Games, and a huge reason for that was because we saw such an authentic version of her that reminded me of the Nicole from Big Brother 16. I really never thought I'd see the day where I became a big Nicole fan again, but here we are now. All I can do is put on this wig and remind myself of just how wrong I was about everything coming into this season.
I didn't believe in myself because I'm just like this chubby mom that didn't work out before I came. And you know what? I did this. Who would have thunk that I could do that? Not me. And I know you probably did too at home.
And in a way, that's kind of why I like this experience so much. Reindeer Games was so good because it subverted my expectations at every corner and then surprised me with satisfying results that put a smile on my face. I felt like a kid throwing rocks against a brick wall, having no idea what was going on or how I got there, but I was laughing and having a good time, and that's all that mattered. Reindeer Games was never meant to be a serious show, and I think that's why it succeeded. We got to watch 9 players come together, play hard, but in a lighthearted and cheery way. They took it serious, but never in a way that took away from the fun. And for something that was just supposed to be a Christmas special, I think we got way more than we bargained for. Maybe the show was just a fluke. Maybe we'll see 3 or 4 more iterations of this and it'll flop every single time. But I'm always going to be there to watch it, and maybe this will remind me to not be as cynical the next time Big Brother tries something different.
Guys, we don't have to. No, we're doing it. I'm forcing you to do this. No, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
And there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I have never done a review like this before, so hopefully this video wasn't a train wreck of random thoughts all over the place. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I, of course, need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members who could have lasted on the Candy Cane Endurance Challenge for at least 2 hours. And, as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
So you're contacted about the show. What is your process? What are you thinking? Did you have a strategy coming in?
I watched Ethanimale. Is that how you say it?